section, and we will be presenting to you about the Crafts Innovation Studios. So I've been trying to find a place to study like all week because it's finals week and finals are really important and I need to study. So I went to the library because everybody goes to the library, so I went to the library. But everybody goes to the library, so I couldn't find anywhere to study. And I spent an hour looking for like a chair, and that's an hour wasted, and it sucks, and I'm gonna fail.
I know all the group rooms are really filled and packed, and it's really congested, and I always feel like I'm on top of school or something.
And it kind of smells funny sometimes.
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys, but I overheard you guys talking about how you guys couldn't find a place to study in the library. Have you guys ever heard of the Cross Innovation Studio?
No.
No, it's pretty much set up as a lounge type area. It has a bunch of bunch of rooms, bunch of tables where you can go and meet as a team. You can do academic or extracurricular activities, research. It's for both students and staff. And the best part about it is that it's not as crowded as it is in the library.
Wait, where is it?
It's actually located in the Chambers building, second floor, right across the street from the library.
Wait, isn't Chambers building like the education building?
Yeah, it is the education building, and a lot of people think that the studio is focused on education majors, but the directors of the studio actually want to open it up more to all types of students that are on campus.
We should go there.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, you guys should. The best part about it is that the studio, they just want to achieve success for their students, promote innovation and creativity and all that they do.
Oh.
Alright, so we've all been in the Cross Innovation Studio because it's our project, but we realize that none of you probably have, or they wouldn't have heard of it before. 1, 2. Other than that, no one else has, and no one that I know outside this class has ever heard of it. Because there's some fundamental problems that prohibit it from students hearing about it, and we realize that pretty much comes from poor publicity and outreach. So as of right now, the studio has absolutely no advertising. They don't do any money or resources towards getting the word out, because historically it was for only teaching students in this concept. But it's open to any student, so anyone here at any time can go and reserve a space there. So lack of knowledge and advertisement is pretty much the #1 fundamental problem the students have about finding out about the studio. But at the same time, they also have some other inhibitions, such as extremely poor web design. As of right now, it's littered with broken links. If you go to their website, you can't even find where it's actually located because of the broken links. It's very visually appealing at first glance, but once you get down to it, it's absolutely useless and has absolutely no purpose besides saying Cross Innovation Studio in a picture. It's also in an obscure location because, for the most part, it's the education building. Some other students have classes in it, but most of the education students come in and out of it. It's on the second floor, and within the building and outside of the building, there's absolutely no advertising. So if you didn't know it was there and you weren't on the second floor, you'd have no idea it was there. Begin with. Complicated scheduling practices outside of being in the innovation studio itself. Inside, it's pretty convenient. You can go to one of the screens on next to the pods in the rooms and type in your name, type in the time, and you can get a scheduled appointment. But other than that, if you're off campus, you need to install something on your computer called a VPN, which is software. It's pretty complicated. You need to get Independent States Network, assign a username, password. And for the most part, I've had to do it before, and without contacting ResCom or visiting them in person, it's pretty complicated to begin with. It's a pretty complicated process. So besides actually being in the studio, it's pretty difficult to even schedule an appointment. And a vague explanation of purpose. When students hear the words innovation studio, they don't really understand what that means. I don't really even understand what that means. I didn't until recently. It's BYOT, bringing in technology, which sounds as if they don't provide any resources for you as far as technology is concerned, but that's completely far from the truth. Bringing in technology means bringing your own computer, which, if you think about it, is actually beneficial because all my documents, all my programs are on my computer. But they provide television screens everywhere, HDMI cables that allow you to share multiple computers on multiple screens at the same exact time and switch through them relatively easily. Conference room tables and all these other technology resources that don't really live up to the name bring your own technology besides the fact that you need your own computer. So this vague explanation of purpose, when people hear about it, kind of is an inhibition to visiting it and trying to figure it out to begin with. Because of these, you can tell we have some use of statistics. The Innovation Studio holds up to 65 people at a time, but as you can see through fall, and spring of 2012 and 2014, no more than 20 people have used the studio at a single given time between 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Alright.
So we had pinpointed the problem of this of the studios that there wasn't enough foot traffic actually going inside of the studio. So we had to come up with a list of solutions, and we came up with a bunch of them, but we actually narrowed it down to about 3 solutions in which we felt was the most feasible as far as work effort, feasibility, time, cost. And the first one was advertisement. We wanted to spread awareness to the studio. We wanted other students to become knowledgeable and to actually, be aware of what the studio does and what it can do for them. So originally we wanted to develop 2 sets of flyers, and we wanted to put them all around different places on campus. Firstly, the major traffic areas, the hub, Thomas Building, especially the library, because when a student walks into the library and sees that it's actually crowded and full, if they can look at an advertisement or a banner placed of the Innovation Studio and read the fact that it can actually serve as a substitute to a library for them to study or to do any academic work, extracurricular work, research, they would actually choose the studio as an alternate. Instead of going to the library, they can go there. We also wanted to spread awareness in the Chambers building, particularly having directional signs pointing to the studio. Because a lot of students have business in that building, but they don't know where that studio is. So it'd be best if we were to point them out and then show them what the studio is, so the next time they could be like, hey, well, maybe I'll go there to study next time. I'm always in this building anyways for classes or extra meetings and things like that. We also wanted to talk to coordinators, resident life coordinators all around campus, and have them talk to their RAs, and to be able to put these bulletin boards and flyers and advertisements in stall stories, bulletin boards as well as hallways. Our second method was about the website design. What we wanted to do was completely overhaul the website. All of those broken links that you can't click on or you can't use, we wanted to fix it to make it workable. We also wanted to change the scheduling system because it was a complex system when you schedule outside of the studio. We wanted to make it more simple for students to do so. We also wanted the website to have more information, so they can know about the studio beforehand before they go ahead and take a travel over there. We thought that we would talk to students who were related in organizations that design, software, and we would propose this idea to them and tell them that it's a valuable experience for them, resume builder, and they're going to get the credit for it. What we also wanted to do, as the last solution, is we wanted to change the mission statement. So the mission statement pretty much says that the studio was open to only educational majors. But when we had talked to Michael Rook, who was the research technologist here at the Cross Innovation Studios, March 31st, 2014, he had told us that the studio was a space where all students can creatively, and even faculty can creatively and innovatively, develop new techniques in order to learn and teach in the classroom settings. So we wanted to change the mission statement from being just educational majors to all majors. We wanted that to reach to a broad spectrum and the vast audience of students that are on campus.
So after we brainstormed our ideas, we critically evaluated them to see which one would be the best to implement. So we went through the pros and cons and the time and cost effectiveness of it and how realistic each solution would be. For our first one, it was advertisement. Advertisement and flyers are relatively easy to produce. Anyone can do them well, and you can post them up anywhere, whether it be the hub or the library. So it would be easy for students to spread awareness about the Cross Innovation Studios. Also, it wouldn't take a lot of time and it wouldn't take a lot of money. According to the Residence Life coordinator of North Halls, Elizabeth Estelle, she said that if you posted any advertisement through residence halls, it would be free of stall stories and on any bulletin boards in any of the residence halls. And so the only con we could think of for advertisement was that students naturally ignore flyers given to them, whether it's being passed or if it's hung up on the wall. People just kind of walk right by and ignore them. So that was our biggest con, but overall, flyers were a realistic solution. Our second solution was redesigning the website. This one would be a little bit more time-consuming and a little bit more costly, just because the website currently is such a mess with all the broken links and scrolling not working, the scheduling not working. We would have to find someone who could help us fix it and that might cost money, but it would also be a realistic solution. And our third one was expanding the mission statement so that it would encompass everybody in Penn State that would be allowed to use the resources of the studio, and that wouldn't take a lot of time or money. But we also figured that even though we could accommodate all the students of Penn State, it wouldn't necessarily solve the problem, because just because you add something into a mission statement, you don't necessarily make it more aware to the rest of the Penn State population.
Okay. So our group came up with a consensus decision to do advertising. We decided on flyers, banners, and signs. The flyers, we would make about 140 flyers. The banners would be 3, and they would be hung in the hub, the Thomas Building, and in front of the Chambers Building. And the signs would be placed all over the library to kind of redirect student traffic. And this would all kind of cause a word of mouth advertising, so it would be naturally advertising itself. Using risk technique, one of the risks that we came up with was the amount of students. Unfortunately, the maximum capacity of the studio is only 65 students. So it can only accommodate so many, even if we do get a lot of traffic in there. Our next one was ignoring the advertisements, which is actually a big one for us, because we noticed that, again, if we give out advertisements to students, some of them will ignore them, or they end up on the floor or the walls, or they end up not being as well seen. The third one was not enough money to invest. Michael Rook, who we had an interview with on March 31st, 2014, said that it was $6.4 million that was pumped into creating the Innovation Studio on state-of-the-art modern technology. So technically that money may not exist. Going into the logistics of it, this is advertising effectiveness. If you've taken Com 320 or Marketing 301, you may have seen this, but it basically comes with the idea that the general, well thought of idea that the more you spend on advertising, the better the effectiveness is, and that's what you usually people think of. And you can see that through the straight line, but the reality of the situation is, the more you spend on advertising, it kind of reaches a saturation threshold, which is why it kind of slopes, and it gets to the saturation point in which the response to the advertisements aren't well done. Solutions to risk. So when talking to my group, we thought that it was kind of a win-win situation. We came up with the risks, but we realized that there are a lot of solutions to those risks. So, for example, the first one was the amount of students. The first one would be expanding the studio in the future. So if you reach a maximum capacity of 65 students and you constantly get student traffic, we could either expand the existing studio or create other studios around campus, which they're actually thinking of creating, and there's going to be one supposedly near East or Brewer 2B. The second one would be creating 2 designs and using them interchangeably for the flyers. So as soon as we reach like a saturation threshold, we can change it with the other design for other flyers. And the third one would be having local businesses to sponsor the advertisements. So speaking that they invested $6.4 million for the studio, you could reach out to local businesses and say, okay, well, if you invest in our flyers, we can put your local trademark or whatever on the flyers, and that way you kind of get free advertising for our advertising. So another win-win kind of situation.
So we put together a short video to kind of summarize and get our message across more clearly to you guys. Before we start that though, did anybody have any questions about the studio itself? Where it's located, kind of its purpose? Because it is unclear, and that's kind of the whole point of our presentations, that no one really understands the purpose behind the studio. It's a great idea, it's great for groups, it's great for individual study as well. But it's unclear as to exactly what Innovation Studio means, exactly who can use it, which is everyone. It's great for groups.
Where's it located?
Chambers Building on the 2nd floor, directly across from the library on Curry Road. It has a giant lawn in front of it. So as soon as you go up the stairs and turn to the left, it's right there. So we're going to show our video to you guys.
Just keep pushing it a lot. It can go up more. Yeah.
In the Penn State University Park campus, located conveniently across the Potomac Terminal Library in the Chambers Building, you can find a Krause Innovation Studio. Created initially for college education students, the Krause Innovation Studio is worth $6.4 million. Created specifically for the innovation of ideas and coming up with new concepts in a group-like working center, with several quiet pods and areas to study. The area helps you make group thoughts in a creative kind of way. Though BYOT bring their own technology, the studio offers adapters, various outlets, Ethernet outlets, and televisions to present presentations on a large screen, and if desired, all at once. The studio also has detachable whiteboards to jot down ideas. If you want to reserve a pod for a set period of time, you can do so by using the mounted touchpads. Simply type in the time in which you will be working, your name, and the subject. The name appears on the touchpad, and in any desired time, you can click End to end your session. The studio, designed not only for students but for faculty, is a nice atmosphere for group conferences and conversations.
Okay, this space is used for anyone if they want to study or do homework, or basically anything they need a space to use. They can reserve any of their rooms or pods if they want to work in groups, so they can put their computer screen up to the TV. This way, as a group, they could be all working together. So we provide adapters for people to plug their computers in, which allow a lot better group work. And then we also have the Learn Lab as a part of it, which classrooms are allowed to use the technology for. So teachers and professors can rent out the space or reserve the space for their classes.
I hate always trying to find a place to get my work done.
I know, the library is always packed.
All the time, man.
All the time. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I heard about this place in the Chambers building. I think it's called the Cross Innovation Studio.
Wanna check it out?
Yeah.
Let's go check it out.
Oh man, this place is cool. I think this was the Blue Room. There's a lot of features. It's really spacious.
Yeah, man. Throughout the entire place, you have detachable whiteboards, conference style table, HDMI cables connected all the way to the TVs over here. They can put on two screens at once.
You can have a bunch of presentations. There's a ton of outlets, and there's even AC.
That's only one of the rooms down here, so we've got about 5, 6 other rooms in the spacious central area for meetings.
It's a pretty good place to do, academic work, group work,
Especially group work, innovation.
get a lot of things done.
Yeah, what do people should know about this place? What do you think they can do to get the word out?
You know what? I think we need to spread a lot of awareness about this place. First things first is we should probably put flyers up in the Chambers building, because there's a lot of people that have business here, whether it's class or meetings or study sessions. We should have these flyers directed to this room so that when they come to this building, they could, see this room and be like, wow, it's a pretty nice place. Maybe I'll come here to study in the future or bring my group here to do projects. We should also put up flyers all around campus, on public bulletin boards and the major traffic areas, at the hub, the Thomas building, especially the library. Because I know a lot of these students are going to go to the library, see that it's full and become frustrated, but if they see a sign on the wall talking about innovation studios and a place where they can study, they might come here instead. You can also talk to the coordinators and have the RAs put flyers in the on their bulletin boards, on the walls in the halls, and maybe even in the store stories. There's a lot of ways we can bring awareness to this place.
Yeah, that's innovation.
That's it.
That's the design students over there, if they can make the advertisement for us.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Let's go see that. How you guys doing?
Hi.
Hey, so I know you guys are the president and vice presidents of the graphic design club, and I was just wondering, so me and my friend Charlie have stumbled upon this studio. It's being funded to use, and we're wondering if you guys could create a flyer for us, or maybe even two, which we would use to spread awareness around campus for the students, because I feel like it would be an important asset and it would actually help them with their studies. It's a really great place to study. And it's something that's incredibly unique. It's way different than a library.
That's cool. It's really good.
That's great. Thanks.
Wow, good job, guys. That's a great fire.
That's innovation.
Alright guys, whatever you guys want to see. That's time.